A heck of a case. It's disturbing. It's chilling to some of the stuff that we found out during the course of the investigation. We get the call, and working with the folks at the hotel, find that the door was left ajar, that the victim's car was left in the parking lot, that the victim's phones were still in the hotel room.
What does a dead body look like after 2 days? How many prostitute murders go unsolved? If you're strangled, can you still scream? These weren't random questions from a crime novel or horror movie script. These were actual Google searches made by 20-year-old Willie Richard Ellington, an active-duty Marine stationed at Naval Air Station Pensacola, Florida. Searches he made deliberately, methodically, before meeting 26-year-old Che Bennett at the Sweet Dreams in December 2024. The digital footprint of a killer often reveals the most disturbing truths about premeditation. In this case, it exposed a calculated plan that would end with a young mother's body being discovered in a water-filled ditch over 50 miles away from where she was last seen alive. Ellington wasn't researching out of morbid curiosity. He was preparing to commit murder. Before their fatal encounter, he purchased a large duffel bag from the Navy Exchange. He researched methods of killing and disposal. He sought information on how often these specific crimes go unsolved. Each search query, each purchase, each movement was another step toward an act of violence that would devastate a family and shock a community. Che Ronay Bennett wasn't just another statistic. She was a vibrant 26-year-old mother to an 8-year-old son who had just celebrated his birthday. Originally from Houston, Texas, she had recently moved to Northwest Florida in 2024 seeking new opportunities. Friends described her as the most humble, funniest girl, who never missed family events or important milestones. The Sweet Dreams in off Davis Highway in Escambia County became the backdrop for this tragedy. A modest hotel where Che had been staying for several days while working as an escort and dancer. The room, with its standard furnishings and unremarkable appearance, would become a crime scene, its ordinary features transformed into evidence. A PlayStation cord left behind, bedding mysteriously stripped and removed, 2 cell phones abandoned, and a door left suspiciously ajar. This ordinary hotel room would be the last place Che Bennett was seen alive. If you think this story is disturbing already, I need you to stay with me until the end. The details of this case reveal something far more calculated than a random act of violence. Hit that subscribe button now and turn on notifications, because understanding cases like this could literally save lives. On December 13, 2024, Che Bennett met Willie Ellington after an online arrangement for escort services. By the next day, her family and friends grew concerned when her normally responsive phone went silent. What authorities discovered would reveal a crime that Sheriff Chip Simmons would later describe as chilling. The investigation uncovered a trail that led from the Sweet Dreams in Florida to an abandoned neighborhood in Mobile, Alabama, more than 50 miles away, where Che's body was found submerged in a water-filled ditch. Between these 2 points lay a disturbing sequence of events: a hotel room with missing bedding, surveillance footage of a rental car fleeing the scene, and a killer who attempted to escape by Greyhound bus. Beyond the murder itself, investigators discovered over 30 counts of child pornography on Ellington's phone, adding another layer of depravity to an already horrific crime. The case exemplifies the unique dangers faced by sex workers, the power of digital forensics in modern investigations, and the devastating impact of premeditated violence. It's a story about vulnerability, predation, and a justice system racing to catch a killer before he disappeared. Che Ronay Bennett was born and raised in Houston, Texas, where she developed a vibrant personality and strong sense of loyalty that her friends would later remember her by. Those who knew her best described Che as someone who lit up rooms with her humor and humility. She wasn't the type to seek attention, yet her genuine warmth naturally drew people to her. In early 2024, Che made the significant decision to relocate to Northwest Florida. Like many young adults seeking better opportunities, she packed up her life and her young son's belongings, hoping the move would open new doors for their future. The transition wasn't easy. Moving to a new state as a single mother required tremendous courage and determination, qualities Che had in abundance. Her best friend, Jessica Ramirez, would later tell investigators that Che was the kind of friend who never missed important moments. She was at every birthday, every graduation, every milestone.
A close friend today sharing her grief and memories after the loss of her best friend. Escambia County deputies say 26-year-old Tisha Bennett was murdered by a U.S. Marine. And her best friend says Tisha was a single mother going back to school for a business degree.
Investigators say she was working as an escort when she met 20-year-old Willie Ellington at the Sweet Dream Inn on Davis Highway last week. She was never seen alive again. WEAR's Samantha Serpin spoke with her best friend in Texas today.
Not only was Tisha Bennett a single mother, yesterday was her son's 8th birthday. The woman I spoke with met Tisha back in their Texas middle school more than a decade ago.
Tisha was the most humblest, funniest girl I've literally ever met in my life. Like, there was not ever a dull moment with her.
Jessica Ramirez met Tisha Bennett in middle school. The pair, inseparable ever since.
She came to every one of our family events, every baby shower, every gender reveal, every party.
Although Tisha moved to Northwest Florida this year, Ramirez says they spoke regularly. Just recently, Ramirez got to tell her best friend she is pregnant, and Tisha was going to be an auntie. That's why when she didn't hear back from Bennett this weekend, she knew something wasn't right.
We were all trying to be like detectives and trying to figure out, where she was.
Escambia County deputies say the 26-year-old escort met 20-year-old Marine Willie Ellington at Sweet Dream Inn last weekend. Phone records revealed Ellington planned an attack.
We found out that prior to his meeting, he had Googled things like how many prostitute murders go unsolved.
The person who did it, the coward, he thought, nobody was going to look for her, or it wouldn't, she was going to go missing, and that was just it. No one was going to care. Nope. Literally everybody was like distraught. Everybody was worried. We were all, trying to get to the bottom of it.
Investigators tracked Ellington's phone to Mobile. That's where they found Bennett's body in a small retention pond. This new video shows the bus stop where Lee County, Alabama deputies arrested the 20-year-old in a small city next to Auburn.
Thank God, he's not going to get away with this. I can't even put it in words how many people cared about this girl. I wish she was here so she could see, like, Tisha, look at how many people care about you. Like I don't even know if she knew.
We're also learning more about the suspect. A Marine Corps spokesperson says Private First Class Willie Ellington was stationed at NAS Pensacola in September and assigned to Marine Aviation Training Support Group 23. They have not said whether Ellington was on unauthorized leave. In studio, I'm Samantha Serpin.
The missing bedding, later noted by investigators, suggests that Ellington stripped a bed to remove evidence after the killing. Hotel staff reported no disturbances or unusual sounds coming from the room that evening. No other guests called the front desk with noise complaints. This silence aligns with Ellington's research on preventing screams during strangulation, a methodical execution of his plan. The ordinary hotel setting, with its thin walls and proximity to other guests, makes this silence particularly telling about the calculated nature of his approach. By the time Ellington left the hotel, surveillance footage shows him carrying what appears to be a heavier bag than when he arrived, likely containing Che's body. Che Bennett's final day followed patterns typical of her routine. Phone records show she texted friends throughout the morning of December 13th, including sending photos of a new outfit to her best friend Jessica Ramirez. Around noon, she ordered food delivery to her hotel room, a meal she shared on social media.
An update following the tragic discovery of a missing woman from Escambia County, Florida, found dead in Mobile yesterday. WKRG News 5's Hannah O'Gara spoke with Sheriff Chip Simmons today about why officers were able to quickly focus their investigation on an active duty Marine station at NAS Pensacola and make an arrest.
First having been reported missing on December 13th, Tisha Bennett's disappearance came to a tragic ending on Wednesday, when officials recovered her body near Cardinal and Eagle Drives in Mobile's Birdville community. Her death has been connected to Willie Ellington, an active duty Marine with NAS Pensacola,
who was arrested Wednesday afternoon.
It's, a heck of a case. It's disturbing. It's chilling. Some of the stuff that we found out during the course of the investigation.
Bennett's last known location was Sweet Dream Inn on Plantation Road in Pensacola. Authorities say she was working as an escort when she met Ellington there. Escambia County Sheriff Chip Simmons says when officials arrived at the inn, something felt wrong.
We get the call, and working with the folks at the hotel, find that the door was left ajar, that the victim's car was left in the parking lot, that the victim's phones were still in the hotel room.
The Escambia County Sheriff's Office obtained Ellington's phone through a search warrant and were unsettled at the suspect's web search records.
Things like what does a dead body look like after 2 days? How many prostitutes murders go unsolved in a particular time period? If someone's strangled, can they talk? Can they yell? Can they scream?
Sheriff Simmons says based off these web searches, the sheriff's office concluded there was clear intent by the suspect to harm Bennett. Deputies say evidence found in the suspect's phone led them to the location of Bennett's body in Mobile. They also learned Ellington was leaving the area on a bus stopping in Opelika. Deputies tipped off authorities in Lee County, Alabama, and they were able to make the arrest. He faces more than a first-degree murder charge.
We also found pornography, child pornography on the phone, so he's going to be charged with that as well.
Ellington is currently in custody in Opelika, Alabama, and will be extradited to Escambia County, Florida. In Escambia County, Hannah O'Gara, WKRG News 5.
With a casual caption about lunch before work. Her last public social media post came at approximately 4:15 that afternoon. A brief video showing the view from her hotel window with music playing in the background. Several friends commented on this post, receiving responses from Che until roughly 5:30. These digital interactions reveal nothing unusual about her mindset or activities in the hours before meeting Ellington. At 6:42, Che sent a text to another friend mentioning she had a client coming soon and would call back later. This was the last verified communication from her phone. Security footage shows her briefly stepping outside her room around 7:15, perhaps to check the parking lot or get something from her car, before returning inside. The final confirmed sighting of Che alive comes from hotel surveillance, which captured her opening her door to admit Ellington at 7:32. She is seen greeting him with a professional smile, completely unaware that she was welcoming her killer into her temporary home. I need you to pause for a moment and consider. How many times have you or someone you know met a stranger after connecting online? What safety protocols do you follow? If this story is affecting you, hit that like button right now. In the comments, share one safety measure you take when meeting someone new. These conversations could save lives. The details I'm about to share next reveal how quickly this encounter turned deadly, and the digital breadcrumbs that eventually led investigators to justice. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you never miss these critical safety lessons hidden within true crime stories. By the morning of December 14th, Che's friends had grown increasingly concerned. Jessica Ramirez, who typically received daily texts from Che, noticed something unusual. Her messages weren't being delivered. Her phone was off, which never happened. Ramirez later told investigators. Che always kept her phone charged and on her at all times, especially because of her son. When calls went straight to voicemail for several hours, Ramirez contacted other friends in their circle. None had heard from Che since the previous evening. What particularly alarmed them was that Che had plans to video call her son that morning, a standing appointment she never missed. By early afternoon, the group of friends had contacted hotels in the area where they believed Che was staying. After confirming she had checked into the Sweet Dreams Inn, they requested a welfare check, explaining the completely uncharacteristic silence from someone who was reliably communicative. Their quick action would prove crucial to launching the investigation. Escambia County Sheriff's deputies arrived at the Sweet Dreams in around 3:15 in the afternoon on December 14th. The responding officers noted several immediate red flags. Che's car remained parked outside her room, suggesting she hadn't left voluntarily. When management provided access to the room, deputies found the door slightly ajar. unusual for a room that should have been occupied. Inside, the scene presented more concerning elements. 2 cell phones lay abandoned on a side table, one personal and one apparently used for business. The bed had been completely stripped of all linens, with no bedding present in the room or bathroom. A PlayStation console sat on the TV stand, but officers noted and documented that its power cord was missing while other cables remained connected. Most telling was the complete absence of Che herself, while all her personal belongings, including her purse containing identification, credit cards, and cash, remained untouched. Deputies immediately upgraded the call from a welfare check to a potential missing persons case. The hotel room yielded critical evidence that quickly transformed the missing persons case into a suspected homicide investigation. Crime scene technicians noted several key elements beyond the obvious missing bedding and PlayStation cord. Luminol testing revealed traces of blood despite attempts to clean the room. Microscopic droplets on the wall behind the bed and on the bathroom floor that had been invisible to the naked eye. The abandoned cell phones provided immediate investigative leads. While both were password protected, emergency pings confirmed they hadn't left the room since the previous evening. The business phone contained numerous messages arranging appointments, including the final communication with Ellington, though he had used a temporary number that would require additional investigation to trace. Hotel surveillance footage became perhaps the most valuable evidence. Cameras captured Ellington's arrival in a silver Toyota Corolla with rental plates at 7:32 p.m. on December 13th. More crucially, footage showed his departure at approximately 9:45 p.m., carrying what appeared to be a large, heavy duffel bag that he struggled to load into his trunk, a bag he hadn't been carrying upon arrival. Additional cameras from neighboring businesses captured the rental car heading west toward Interstate 10. The vehicle's license plate, clearly visible in multiple frames, allowed investigators to immediately contact the rental agency, which identified the car as being leased to Willie Richard Ellington 3 days earlier. The missing bedding suggested an attempt to remove evidence, likely blood or other bodily fluids. The PlayStation cord's absence, combined with its presence in the room before Ellington's arrival, confirmed by housekeeping records, pointed to a potential improvised weapon. With Ellington identified through the rental car records, investigators moved quickly to track his movements. His status as an active-duty Marine stationed at NAS Pensacola provided immediate information about his residence and work location. However, when military police checked his barracks, they discovered he hadn't returned after his shift ended on December 13th. Cell phone tower data proved crucial in tracking Ellington's journey. His phone pinged along Interstate 10 heading west from Pensacola into Alabama, with activity ceasing near Mobile around 11:30 p.m. on December 13th. The signal reactivated briefly the following morning in the vicinity of an abandoned subdivision before continuing westward. The case of Willie Ellington reveals several recognizable patterns of predatory behavior that might serve as warning signs in other contexts. His methodical research, particularly the disturbing Google searches, demonstrates the calculated nature of many predators who don't act on impulse, but rather plan their crimes extensively. This planning phase often leaves detectable traces that, if identified early, could potentially prevent violence. Ellington's specific targeting of someone in the sex work industry reflects a common predatory tactic of selecting victims perceived as vulnerable or less likely to be immediately missed. This strategic victim selection is a significant red flag that appears in many similar cases. Additionally, his use of a rental car rather than his personal vehicle shows consciousness of evidence and traceability, another common trait among premeditated violent offenders. Perhaps most telling was Ellington's digital behavior, searching for information about getting away with specific types of murders. Criminal psychologists note that this research phase often precedes action, creating a window where intervention might be possible. While private searches aren't monitored for prevention, this pattern underscores why suspicious online behavior reported by peers or family members should be taken seriously by authorities. The progression from digital exploration to physical preparation, purchasing the duffel bag, to actual violence follows a recognizable escalation pattern seen in many premeditated crimes. The murder of Che Bennett highlights the particular dangers faced by those in the sex work industry. Sex workers often operate in isolation, meeting clients in private locations, without security measures or witnesses. This vulnerability is compounded by the stigmatization and criminalization of their work in many jurisdictions, which can make them reluctant to involve authorities even when feeling threatened. Safety advocates within the sex worker community have developed protocols that, while not foolproof, can reduce risks. These include screening potential clients through verification systems, sharing client information with trusted contacts, arranging check-in calls during appointments, and using location-sharing apps with emergency features. Some workers also employ security personnel or meet clients only in specific locations where others know their whereabouts. The digital nature of modern sex work arrangements creates both risks and potential safeguards. While online platforms facilitate connections with dangerous individuals like Ellington, they can also create digital records that aid in investigation after incidents occur. Some advocacy organizations are developing anonymous reporting systems where workers can flag dangerous clients without fear of legal repercussions for their work. For those in vulnerable positions, safety experts recommend maintaining regular communication patterns with trusted contacts, making Che's friend's quick response to her silence an important example of how established check-in systems can at least ensure prompt investigation, even if they cannot always prevent tragedy. The investigation into Che Bennett's murder demonstrates how thoroughly our digital footprints can reveal both criminal intent and movements. Without the electronic evidence trail, from Ellington's Google searches to cell tower pings, tracking his journey to surveillance footage capturing his vehicle, the case might have remained unsolved significantly longer or permanently. Modern investigations increasingly rely on digital forensics to establish timelines, motives, and connections. In this case, investigators were able to reconstruct not just what happened but the extensive premeditation involved. Ellington's search history provided prosecutors with powerful evidence of intent. Searches about strangling victims and disposing of bodies eliminated any possibility of claiming the death was accidental or unplanned. Cell phone location data proved particularly crucial, allowing investigators to track Ellington's movements from the hotel to the body disposal site in Mobile, then along his attempted escape route. This digital breadcrumb trail directed the physical search for evidence, leading authorities to the exact location where Che's body was concealed. The integration of multiple digital systems, hotel surveillance, traffic cameras, cell tower data, and financial transactions created a comprehensive picture that left few gaps for defense attorneys to exploit. This case exemplifies how difficult it has become to commit crimes without leaving digital evidence, even when perpetrators believe they've been careful about covering their tracks. The murder of Che Bennett in December 2024 represents a tragic intersection of premeditated violence and vulnerability. What began as an online arrangement for escort services ended with a young mother's body being discovered in an Alabama drainage ditch. Willie Ellington's calculated approach, from his disturbing Google searches to his purchase of a duffel bag and use of a rental car, revealed the methodical nature of his crime. The investigation showcased modern forensic techniques, with digital evidence proving crucial in tracking both victim and killer. The case highlights how quickly violence can unfold, with less than 2 hours elapsing between Ellington's arrival at the Sweet Dreams Inn and his departure with Che's body. It also demonstrates the particular dangers faced by sex workers, who often meet clients in isolated settings. As legal proceedings continue, the first-degree murder charge and additional counts of child pornography possession ensure that Ellington faces severe consequences for his actions. Beyond the tragic circumstances of her death, it's essential to remember Che Bennett as a complete person, not merely a victim in a case file. Friends described her infectious laugh and unwavering loyalty. As a mother, she prioritized her son's future, working toward a business degree while making sacrifices to provide him with opportunities. Her appearance on reality television showed her comfort in the spotlight and willingness to pursue unconventional paths. The memorial service held in Houston featured stories of Che's generosity, how she would give her last dollar to someone in need, how she never missed important moments in friends' lives, how she approached challenges with humor and determination. Her son's teacher spoke of her involvement in his education never missing a parent-teacher conference despite her demanding schedule. Che's legacy lives on not only in the lessons her case teaches about safety and vigilance, but in the lives she touched during her 26 years, particularly her son, who carries forward her resilience, warmth, and determination. If this story moved you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Explosive True Crime Stories. Your engagement helps us continue bringing these important cases to light. Share this video with someone who might benefit from the safety lessons within Che's story. You never know whose life might be saved through awareness. In the comments, I want to hear your thoughts. What additional safety measures do you think could protect vulnerable individuals in similar situations? Your insights might help others. Turn on notifications so you never miss our new uploads, because understanding these cases could literally save lives. Until next time, stay safe.